Hey guys, Steven, aka Even Steven Money. I'm live. Give me one moment. I'm going to set up my Instagram. Let people join as well. All right. Okay, great. Hey guys, I'm going to jump into it right away. You can watch this, of course, live right here, as well as on Facebook at Even Steven Money. It should be a good time. We're always going to get better at these every time. So this is the second installment. Today we're talking about the last post that I did, which is how to pay off your debt fast and how I did it in some of my story. My name is Steven, aka Even Steven Money. I also like to say I'm working to be America's favorite money coach. So, watch out, Dave Ramsey, Susie Orman. But today, just wanted to talk about a few things that, it always happens when we're paying off debt. There's really just a kind of a regular occurrence. And I'm going to go through some of those steps on what you need to do and make sure that we can follow them and we're doing the right thing. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to read kind of a little bit about my story and the recap for the how to pay off your debt fast. Click here. So this is from evenstevenmoney.com. If you check there, you can go to the blog post. It's called The Really Quite Good Guide to Pay Off Debt. And this is the introduction. I woke up one morning worried. I wasn't going to be able to pay my bills, let alone pay off my debt. I was scared. Debt had taken over my life. I mean, that's pretty powerful right there. But you see, I took a risk and I moved to Miami for a woman I loved. I didn't have a full-time job, enough savings, or at this point, enough money to pay my monthly bills. I was swimming in the middle of the ocean and I couldn't see land. So the good news is my story does have a happy ending. I paid off thousands and thousands of dollars of personal debt. I know what it's like to be in debt, and I know how to get out of debt. The Really Quite Good Guide to Pay Off Debt will take you through some of my personal experiences and recommendations to pay off debt. Just by reading this, listening to this, you're going to be taking the necessary steps to get rid of debt once and for all. So that is the intro. Near and dear to my heart. It might break my heart a little bit because those were some rough times. But like anything, we persevere, we get through them, and we take the next step. But so I want to talk about, there's going to be kind of a little bit of an outline this week and what I'm talking about. So feel free to if you have a question along the way, if something strikes close to home, like it, send it out. I'm happy to interact as much as you would like to. But when we go through today, it's going to be going through kind of the main topics, which is the budget, like the evil word, pay off debt, save money, flipping the page here, earning extra money, your money mindset, and then I'll just wrap things up. So if you want to jump on for 1 minute, you want to jump on for the whole thing, I'm very happy to have you wherever you're watching this today. If you prefer to read, go ahead and jump on evenstevenmoney.com. No worries, however you consume something, do it the best way. So the number one way to get started is your budget. So I say that it's actually the number one reason how I paid off debt. It's a pretty big statement because a lot of people do not like budgets. Just a reminder, I'll be doing this a couple times throughout, but my name is Steven, aka Even Steven Money, and we're here on Money Talk Friday talking about how to pay off your debt fast. And right now we're talking about the first step, which is budgets, number one. Maybe it's not a funny story, but to me it's funny now. So the first way that I really was budgeting was I would go to the ATM, I'd put in my card and, enter the PIN, and I would look at the balance, or I would get a printed receipt that showed me how much money I had. That was my budget. I knew that if I had $1,000 in there, that I couldn't spend any more than that. I couldn't, I had to make sure that the checks would go through all of my credit and debit cards. So it's pretty much one of the worst ways to track your budget. That's what I was doing. But it got better. It started with an ATM receipt, and then it moved on to mint.com, which is a personal finance website. You enter in all of your accounts, and then it'll show you, what transactions are coming in and coming out. So you're able to make a budget. They also make recommendations, and it shows you your net worth. And then I transitioned to using Excel. Actually, I should back up one step. I was writing things down on paper after the ATM receipts, just to, keeping it simple. But after that, so it went ATM receipts, writing it down on a piece of paper, to Mint. And then I transitioned, the more I got comfortable, I transitioned to Excel, where I was entering in essentially what I was putting on the piece of paper. And then it transitioned probably more to today, which is a combination of Excel, or Google Sheets, actually. Google Sheets and Personal Capital. I use Personal Capital. They keep track of your transactions. You put in all of your accounts, similar to Mint, but it makes more of a focus on, it makes more of a focus on the investment side. And here, I'm just gonna write in the comments. It's not an affiliate link, but it is something I recommend. And you can, I've mentioned it before, but that'll take you there and you can check it out. Again, what do they say? They say, take control of your financial life with Personal Capital. So, excuse me for the water. But that's what it was. It started with my budget, but I want to back up a step, because I keep backing up, but I want to back up because it really involves tracking your spending. I'm looking for the perfect way to say this, but it really is, if you don't know where you are today, you'll never know where you're going tomorrow. If you think about it, and I've heard another analogy, say, hey, I want to travel to Chicago. If you don't know where you are, you can't say whether to go north or south, east, west. You have to know where you are first. And that's what tracking your expenses is. The budget is kind of is the directions of it. You take a US 1 and you go north. But you have to know where you are first, and tracking your spending. And what I did, and what I use today, or we use today, is for the budget, we do what's called the zero-sum budget. I always try to keep things as simple as possible. I like to say, if I can't explain it to my mother and have her understand, then it's not going to work. It's not going to work for me, because I have to really understand it. So the zero-sum budget is very simple. Dave Ramsey talks a lot about it. Maybe that's where I started from, maybe internet, I'm not really sure. But essentially it's putting your income at the top, and then you just subtract the expenses as you go down. So if your income is $1,000 and you have a rent payment of $300, you subtract that and all of your expenses until you get to zero for the month. It's simple. It's what I use today. I would Google zero-sum budget. I would check out, of course, the really quite good guide to pay off debt, which is on Even Steven Money. It'll get you started, but take a piece of paper and it walks you through step by step. So just a reminder, this is Steven, aka Even Steven Money, here on Money Talk Friday. We're talking about how to pay off your debt fast. And we just went through budgeting and tracking your expenses. And the next part of it is a big step, right? It's called paying off your debt. The next step is pay off your debt. So that's makes sense. So I had a big moment in my story that really had a big impact on me. I was in Miami, Florida, and this was, and you can dive more into my story on Even Steven Money if you go into the About page or who I am. But I was in Miami, Florida, and I was trying to make ends meet. I was trying to work part-time, side hustle, find a full-time job. And about a year into it, I was struggling. I was at a point where I was wondering how close it was to making, actually being able to make minimum payments. And I got I got a letter in the mail from my student loan provider, my private student loan provider, which is Citibank. It was tough. It literally is this. It's kind of tough to talk about sometimes. It was a loan statement letting me know that my payment had tripled. It had went from right around $80, $70 to $80 to $250 a month. And I had so many different reactions. I had anger. I was frustrated. Most of them were just being mad, thinking that they messed up. Something was wrong. I gave them a call and they essentially told me that this couldn't change, that it had went through the process and it was now going to this new, I think it was a graduated payment plan, which was going to triple my payments. And I ended up moving to Chicago, the Chicagoland area, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But it was a tough moment. Sometimes you hit rock bottom or you hit a point where things are just not how you thought they were, and you need to make a change. And that's what happened. But with that change, later on, again, I have a happy ending. I have a good story. When I had full-time work and I was ready to pay off debt, you have strategies that you can choose on what works best to pay off debt. And I'm going to talk about 3 of them. So, and I'll go into just a little bit of detail. So there's a snowball, debt avalanche, and the debt tsunami, which I like to call the debt tornado. I hope that catches on. But so I want to talk about each strategy and then what I chose. And again, this is Steven, aka Even Steven Money, here on Money Talk Friday. Right now, we're talking about how to pay off your debt, and the next part is strategies. So the debt snowball, what does that mean? Let's give a definition. It means that you list your balances, regardless of the interest rate, from smallest to largest. And then that's how you pay off the debt. Now I'm gonna use this example throughout, but let's say you have $5,000 credit card, credit card would be 15%. And you have a student loan that's $4,000 and 3%. So in this example, $4,000, you pay that off first because it's the lowest total. And now it doesn't work mathematically, but it works psychologically. The debt avalanche is a little different. So in this case, you're actually listing your debts with the highest interest rate first. So in this case, it would be the credit card, which is 15%. And then let's say hi here to someone that I know. We're going to wave on Instagram. But the debt avalanche then works where you're paying off the highest interest rate first, and then you go down to the next. Mathematically, this is number one. This is the best strategy. It's also not the strategy I chose, but mathematically, it's the best. Hey, just want to say hi to Chuck Carnu, who joined. Just want to give a wave real quick. So I appreciate that. So we're talking about the next strategy, which is the debt tsunami. The debt tsunami is where you use some of that anger and some of that frustration to pay off your debt. And I actually practiced this a little bit with my own personal story, which is, which I had so the Citibank private student loan, I hated them. I'm not saying, maybe they're not going to sponsor me one day. Maybe I won't work with them. I'm okay with that right now. But so what I did was I had my student loan from Citibank was, I think it was say $10,000 at that time. And then I had a lower student loan that was federal, and it was only like $3,000 or $4,000 and it's very low interest rate. But I made the choice to pay off my Citibank private student loan first because I was so angry at them, as you probably know from the fact that my payment was tripled. Again, 3 times, tripled. But debt tornado, let's not call it the debt tsunami. Let's call it the debt tornado. Lastly, just want to talk about what I chose. So I ended up choosing the debt snowball, which I wanted the psychological wins. I wanted the quick wins, and it worked best for me. Later on, I did go into the debt tornado, which allowed me to be a little more angry at everyone and or angry at Citibank to pay off that debt a little faster. But the key is that it's focused. It's one of these but that's what's the most important. You choose what strategy works for you and works best. And it can be the snowball, the avalanche, the debt tornado, whatever makes most sense to you. But my name is Steven, aka Even Steven Money. We're here on Money Talk Friday. We're going through how to pay off your debt fast. I just finished up paying off your debt, and we're going into one of the items that can help you along the way, which is saving your money. So I'm gonna grab a drink of water here quick. So I want to tell you a little bit about my story. So I had mentioned I moved from Miami to the Chicagoland area because I couldn't make my minimum payments. That's essentially what was going to happen. So I had moved in with a family member to save money. I ended up, and then my big, I guess, aha, or my big money saving moment that started taking me even more into the right direction was selling my Mercedes-Benz. And forget the title of the car. I was selling a car that I had a loan on that I couldn't afford. And, that's my story. I decided that it was more important to get rid of, I decided that it was more important to me to make big payments and pay off my student loans and credit cards and everything else than it was to drive around in Chicago in a Mercedes-Benz. Now, I had the luxury of, when I did move, I moved closer to my work. I was about a mile away, so I would walk or take public transportation or even sometimes bike. But that's my story. I did things that to me seemed normal, or I guess normal is the word, but that's my story. Your story is going to be different. You might drive, for example, a great Mini Cooper that you just love. I'm thinking of someone out there, but you love it. And you know what? That's you. That's your pride and joy. It's like it's your little kid that you don't want to give, not little kid. It's your puppy that you love or what have you. But you're okay with making those payments. You're making the choice to keep that vehicle and instead, make a payment on something else or earn more in a different area, save money somewhere else. The point is, your story is different. It's going to be different than mine and different than someone else's. And it's all about saving money though, and what matters more to you. So I'm going to jump in and I'm big on this. This is the big three. Everything's in threes today. Just a reminder, Stephen, aka even Stephen Money, we're here on Money Talk Friday, how to pay off your debt fast. And we're talking about saving money as I jump into the big three. And this is not LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh. That's over. That's right, Miami, it's over. Anyways, the big three from what I'm talking about is your housing, your vehicle or car, and your food or groceries, food and restaurants. So that's where personally I made the big three. And thanks, glad you find it funny. Where I make the big three. So for me, my situation on saving money was I looked, even in the beginning, I shared space with random people on Craigslist in the Chicago area. I took the smallest room in that place. I bet you it was, and memory is probably not going to serve me right, but I want to say it was in between $300 and $500. I'm not even sure if it was, I don't think it was anywhere close to 500. But that was one way that I saved money. Obviously, selling the car and taking only public transportation, that's one of the big three that saved me money. And one of the things that I struggle with big three is food. Sorry. The food is groceries and eating out. That's kind of our special treat. I don't know how to say it, but that's one that we struggle with. We've actually, especially as I've gotten healthier and starting to eat better, is we have increased the budget or increased our spending in food. And it's another way that I'm looking to save, in 2019, saving money. And we're looking for different strategies as we switch more to organic and, having everything be grass-fed if possible. But the key is those big three are going to make up, I believe it's almost like 60% of your budget. And that's, if you look up the big three, well, you don't look at the big three, but if you look up, the food, groceries, housing, there's some economic data on that'll share that with you. That'll kind of go through the percentages. But again, this is your story. My story is different than yours, but the big three, definitely a way to go if you want to reduce, make big jumps on reducing and saving money. Flipping the page because I have a little agenda today, so I'm very proud of having an agenda. So bear with me for 1 second. I'm going to take a drink. So moving on. So a reminder, this is Stephen, aka even Stephen Money. We're here on Money Talk Friday, talking about how to pay off your debt fast. Thumbs up on that. And the next one was earning extra money. Now for me, when I came back to Chicago, I wasn't making a ton of money. In fact, when I went back to the bank, I believe it was $15 an hour plus commissions, which comes out to just a little over $30,000. I think it's $31,200 I think I did the math, that's why. But that wasn't going to cut it for a lot of what I was doing. I mean, it could make the payments great, but if I wanted to pay off debt fast, I had to do something else. And yes, at your current employer, you can, some have commissions, some have, or I mean, you can always earn that promotion, always looking to go into different areas within, your place of work. But for me, my big one was earning extra money on eBay. I end up buying and selling gently used clothes and new at the thrift stores and selling it on eBay. So I like to call it the earning extra money for me is the secret sauce to paying off your debt fast. And I really believe that because you're already taking care of your regular expenses, but to be able to have $100, $500, $1,000, that's where you really make like big leaps and bounds to pay off your debt. That's why I call it the secret sauce. For me, it was eBay. For you, it might be, it's a small gig economy. It could be Uber, it could be Lyft, it could be walking dogs, it could be crocheting on Etsy. There's literally, in the article, I talk about Side Hustle Nation. There we go. There's 99 different ways that he talks about that are side gigs that you can do to earn extra money. Just go out there and choose one that interests you. The common sense approach is to take something that you already do at your current job and then monetize it. But again, your story, my story, totally different. So the key is though, earning extra money. And it's something I actually jumped on an interview today. And one of my tips or advice about paying off debt and, the side hustle was, I'm not doing eBay anymore. You don't have to do it forever. You do it so you can pay off your debt. Now you might love it. You might enjoy it. You might turn it into a full-time income. I made the choice that once I paid off my debt, for the most part, I was done. I was happy. I was in a good spot. I didn't want to do eBay anymore. I didn't want to jump in the thrift stores for an hour. I didn't want to take pictures and list things on eBay. It's not forever. And the side hustles are great, but for a lot of people, including myself, it's temporary until you pay off that debt. That is Earn Extra Money. I'm Steven, aka Even Steven Money. We're here on Money Talk Friday. Let's get that a little higher. Money Talk Friday. How to pay off your debt fast. Just gonna there we go. Just gonna talk about our last one, which is money mindset. And while budgeting was the number one reason I say I got out of debt and tracking my expenses, I think the most important as you're going, hey, thanks for joining, Amber. Just wanted to say hello. I don't mind stopping mid-sentence. So Steven, aka Even Steven Money, right now, just to let you know, we're talking about money mindset. We're just kind of getting towards the end of everything. And the money mindset, what sticks in my head is when I was entering in all of my accounts on mint.com, I actually didn't enter in my student loans. And the reason I didn't is I didn't want to see how much debt I had. It's a true story. I went through and I'm listing all of them. And, I put my car in there because I had an asset of my car, the Mercedes Benz. But I didn't want to list my student loans because I didn't really want to know how negative my net worth was or how far in debt I was. And so I didn't put it in. I stuck my head in the sand for, I don't know how long it was, but I know I didn't put it in right away. But that changed. As I got better with money, I got more confident. And a lot of it was, facing the fear of debt, of making those payments, because it's not anything that's going to go away unless you face it head on. So it's gaining confidence. And how I gain confidence, it's following the steps, right? So it is budgeting, tracking your expenses. It is, paying off some debt. It's saving money. It's earning extra money. But once you focus on the right steps, your confidence changes. Now, knowledge also has a lot to do with that. I felt very confident in myself that I was making the right steps. And once you're doing that, it's then putting, you have your plan. You have, say your debt snowball, and you know that you can pay off debt in 12 months or 8 months, and you do everything you can to make it go faster. And for me, that's what is important. Changing that money mindset to where I had confidence and I knew I was going to pay off my debt and pay off my debt fast. But I encourage you to check out evenstevenmoney.com. Just give a quick read. I put, I don't know if I put my heart and soul to it, but I definitely put my heart into it, and lots of typing on the how to pay off your debt fast. Thank you for everyone who joined. Thank you for everyone who's going to see this. I like to say, especially recently, and I'm realizing it more and more, that we're all in this together. And why do I say that? Why do I say we're all in this together? I'm not paying off your debt. You didn't pay off mine. But what happens is, by listening, by reading, you might take a little bit of what I said, maybe just one little nugget, or maybe I'm in the back of your head when you're at the, next time you're going to car shop and and you don't want to buy a Mercedes-Benz because it costs so much. But we end up being in each other's stories. And if you're joining or checking out Even Steven Money, or you're gaining more knowledge on your financials, or you're listening to me, it's, we're involved. We end up being in this together. And for me, obviously it's me talking, but for me, it's more than that. I need everyone here. I need you to, I need the people who want to pay off debt. I need the people who want to get better with money. And I want you to be part of my story, because you are. Anyone who joins, reads, listens, any of it, we really are in this together. Anyways, and I love doing this. I'm not getting paid for this. I really do enjoy talking about my story. I enjoy answering questions. I enjoy going through things. It's why, just to wrap up, it's why actually I'm going to be a money coach, it's why I am a money coach, because I am working with people and individuals to help them. It's, on their roadmap to financial freedom, to give them the directions to get there. I've gone through this. It's my personal experience. It's what I learn every day, and what I read, and my experiences. It's part of who I am, and I love it. So make sure to check it out. Sign up for emails. Check out Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'm literally everywhere. As I say, I'm trying to be at least. I'll be doing this every Friday. I'm still going to make the announcements, but I'm going to be here Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern, evenstevenmoney.com. Thank you again for joining. Just wrapping up Money Talk Friday, how to pay off your debt fast. This will be coming out again on facebook.com/evenstevenmoney. And I'm going to try to put it on YouTube as well. So thumbs up to that. Thank you for any thumbs ups, comments. Anyone, again, I really do appreciate it. I enjoy the heck out of this stuff. So please watch more and more. I hope to see you next Friday at 1 p.m. Even Steven Money. Thanks again. Have a great weekend, guys.